right, guys. So currently now we are actually at an interesting space right here. It's actually a live podcast studio, and we actually have live guests at the back as well. And this is really done by a ParentPreneur group, whereby we want to actually talk about difficult topics of parenthood as well as entrepreneurship. But before we jump into it as well, maybe a short introduction to yourself, Dom.
Hi, I'm Dominic. I'm the dad of a 3-year-old and 5-year-old, both boys.
COVID baby, 3 and 5, right?
Yep, COVID baby for the 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those times. It was tough times for a lot of parents.
Oh, you mean
a lot of anxieties.
I thought you were gonna say it was I remember those times like COVID times. Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
No. As in like, but you know, it's also I think very it's also a bit reflective of like how like early parenthood is.
Yeah.
I think it just basically just amplified it.
Yep.
Because people realize how like isolated like especially early parents are.
Yeah.
Early in your journey, sometimes you can feel very isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you might be surrounded by people who are a bit more experienced than you, but that feeling that of like, but you know, they're not really at
that stage of life, right?
Now,
yeah.
So we cannot really relate sometimes. Yeah, that feeling is real.
Right. And I guess like maybe like what this is like a parenthood and entrepreneurship, right? So like what's the entrepreneurship angle for you now?
Yeah, so I run this PR firm called Autorités Media. We support small business owners, startups, founders, as well as senior executives within big companies who are really looking to build trust and reputation in their space.
No, lovely, right? So like in that case, there's a lot of like, I guess, PR going around. Do you think it's important to go on a public angle, right? Personal angle as a parent, or like professional angle of like what you do? Because like full disclosure, so as I'm talking to Dom as well, like definitely exploring to see how we can actually help, how I can be a client, right? Both personally and professionally. And yeah, I'd love to hear that thought. Yeah.
So I think it really boils down to the industry, the brand of the business itself, as well as I guess the comfort level of the client.
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really boils down to all three. But I would say that these days, the personal branding is especially like really important.
Yeah.
Because your newer customers, they really want to know like what you stand for.
Yeah.
They want to put a face to the brand. And it's much easier to give a human aspect to the brand when, you know, you present the human side to yourself.
1000%.
We know the human side of the founder, the human side of the CEO.
Yeah.
It's much more better for, you know, your customers to relate to all that.
Yeah, 1000%. So I guess like jumping right in as well, right? One key question that is always on my mind is life is full of trade-offs, right? There is a lot of similarities and differences between parenthood as well as entrepreneurship. Would love to hear like what are your 3 similarities and 3 differences?
3 similarities and differences between
parenthood
and
entrepreneurship. Yeah.
But you have already highlighted the first similarity, which is trade-offs. You know, a lot of people think that, oh yeah, you know, there's definitely trade-offs in business. But newsflash, actually, your entire life is actually full of trade-offs.
Ooh.
Yeah, every single decision you make has a trade-off to it.
Correct.
And the reason why I say this is because I previously worked in government.
Right.
I did some policy-related work.
Ooh.
And in policy, actually, the first thing that you need to know as a good policymaker is everything has a trade-off.
Yes.
Something that is good for somebody might not be as good for another person.
Righto.
And there's always a trade-off in all the decisions you make in life. Whether today you decide to wake up early to be with your kid, you decide to stay in, you decide to come to a networking event, or you decide to basically stay home and spend time with them.
Yep.
All can lead to good outcomes, but all also have trade-offs.
Yep.
It's just a matter of balancing those trade-offs that you get a good net outcome.
Net outcome, right? So I guess like that particular net outcome, it really depends on what is important at the different season of life.
Exactly.
And I guess like that's where parentpreneur, it's amazing, right? Because you can actually openly discuss all of these key topics. And I have actually learned a lot from the crowd today as well, right?
Yeah.
Because like what are the trade-offs they're having, different phase of life. Some of them, they have older kids and it's like, oh, like I have more time now, right? So I think those are the things that we have. So you mentioned a lot of like similarities. How about like differences, right? Key differences.
Yeah. Well, you can always make money again, but you cannot make the time that you lose with your kids. So that is the huge difference. Like, you know, your business may fail, you may lose everything, but Well, I mean, a real talk, right?
By the way,
you
there's
know,
live audience. That's why, in case you think like, why we have a reaction, right? Yeah,
but
yeah.
real talk, right? You know, business may fail, you might lose everything, but you know, if you have that relationship as an anchor, right?
Yep.
That can be forever.
Oh, I fully resonate to this because I even actually told my wife, like, because so the background, I do mergers and acquisition. So when I actually speak to a lot of business owners, they always talk about, oh, what would be the biggest regret that I have, right? And they say that they actually wish they can actually buy back time with their kid, but you can't anymore, right? So I actually told my wife, like, oh, will you be okay with me taking $1 million debt? Then he's like, why are you taking a $1 million debt? I said, I want to take a $1 million debt so that I can actually spend full time with my kid until maybe they are 7.
Yeah.
And then after which, then I'll earn the money back. And that is the extreme end, right? Like if your business failed, then technically you are going into debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so much nuance to it as well, because if you're an entrepreneur, that means you actually gave up a cushy, stable job, right? To actually jump right into it, and you normally don't actually be profitable from day one.
Yeah.
How do you kind of actually feel about that? Because I think a lot of parents are afraid to take that leap of faith, and they have a lot of consideration because they are maybe not emotionally ready, financially ready, and some of them maybe physically they're not ready as well, right? The body is just telling them like, no, they're not in the phase of life to try something new.
Yeah. So to me, it's all about managing risk and managing basically knowing, having a lot of self-awareness,
Yep.
you know, knowing that threshold of risk and discomfort that you're willing to take.
Yep.
And knowing full well that, you know, the consequences of this risk, you know, what kind of like fallout it will have on your family. And I think there's always this myth, like, you know, of like entrepreneurship, like you gotta go all in, you gotta go, like, you gotta just
Go
go
big
deep
or
in
go
right
home,
now.
man.
Go
Yeah.
big or go home.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really the case.
Yeah.
I think you can really, the whole beauty of being the captain of the ship, right?
Yeah.
Is you get to decide how fast your ship goes, right? You get to decide where you want to steer.
Yep.
You get to decide when to go fast, when to slow down.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it can mean that your business might not be growing as fast as it should.
Yep.
Scaling as fast as it should.
Yep.
But who's deciding all that? It's you, right?
Yeah.
So you can very well also decide to, you know, I'm gonna go slow, I'm gonna take lesser risk because this season of my life demands like that kind of decisions.
Right.
But you know, maybe later on I can go all in. So there's no right or wrong answer.
No, for sure, right? And you struck a nerve because the early stage of entrepreneurship, I was struggling to balance all of it, right? Everything needs your attention, whether it's sales, whether it's operation, whether it's marketing, etc., etc. Yet, the biggest pivot in my entrepreneurship journey is when I decided mornings are untouchable.
Yep.
Why? I want to send Eden to school, and I don't want to do it like an exercise. It's like, I just want to get him dressed up, go to school, eat breakfast, full stop.
Yep.
I want to be able to enjoy breakfast with him, slowly go to the park, find flowers, take flowers, throw to the bridge,
Yeah.
find the squirrel, find the chicken, find dogs, right? And it's really like a mini journey that we have, right?
Yeah.
So that really keep me sane in the morning. And that's why when I actually so shout out to anybody else out there that actually have a morning meeting with you, that means that trade-off is super real. And I don't take that trade-off because I don't take any morning meetings now.
Yeah. And I think you really pointed out something that's really crucial. I think that this is not like an entrepreneur exclusive kind of thing. I think it's really to all parents.
All right.
And just caveat, I might be sitting down here like, you know, waxing lyrical about this, but I'm still learning. And there are definitely still days where I still feel impatient. I lose my patience. You know, I'm like brimming with like, you know,
the smoke coming out.
frustration and like about to like lay it all out on my kids. And then I'm gonna like, okay, reel it in, you know, I want to be a good example. And of course, some days I really lose it. And then I feel really bad afterwards, you know. And then I make sure I apologize to my kids. You know, I model what is it to how you should behave. If you did something wrong and you didn't really want that, you didn't mean to do. How do you make it up? I mean, model all that. But my point is really right. You know, I actually watched this. I watched this clip online before, like a couple of years back. That really changed my
what is it?
My perspective on like this hectic mornings, or like you know how it is. Like you try getting 2 kids, 3 and 5, out of the house, where you got a set schedule and time that you have to be there.
Yeah.
most of the times it doesn't happen. Yeah, most of the times my 3-year-old will be like, I don't want to wear this, I want to wear that. You know, can I bring these 2 toys? My brother stashed my toy. It's just like so much, you know,
Drama.
hurdles and drama just to get out right. Just,
Drama mama.
You're just like, oh my God, I'm going to need to meet this client. I need to close this deal. Money is like, you know, and it's not like money's more important than you, but I need money to raise you. You know. But then I watched this segment on this radio show, right? And it was this beautiful like poem about this woman who's in her 80s, and you know, by some magic she got transported back in time to when she's in her 30s, and the kids are, you know, close to my kids' age, like, you know, 3 and 5, tiny hands and feet. And there's all this like normal, it's just all about normal moments of like frustration.
I saw this before,
and, you know, challenges of even just like all the chaos you have in the car. But actually all these moments, right, they are part of everyday life, and they will never ever come back again. One day you will not be frustrated by all this anymore. And one day you will not be cool enough for your kids anymore. It's just the reality, right? One day, you remember when we were teenagers and our parents tried to hang out with us, we were like, I need to meet like my best friend, you know, I'm sorry, maybe we'll hang out another time. Oh, I got exams, I'm sorry, you know. Or I got CCA. The reality is one day this chaos will not be here anymore. And so actually that is your reality of parenthood. You just gotta find ways to really enjoy these tiny little moments, because one day they will leave the nest, and you know you just miss those moments, those everyday moments.
And I have a classic example now. So back then, Eden will always ask me when we were going to school, I want Papa to piggyback me. And no matter how unfit I am, I would do it, right, just to actually exercise, but also to spend time with him. One day he suddenly started telling me like, Papa, I don't need you to piggyback me now. I want to take balancing bike. And then that's even worse, because the balancing bike goes so far that I have to sprint, right? But the truth is that moment is no longer there anymore, right? And recently he go back to a phase like, oh, I'm very tired, can I just get piggyback? I'll never reject. Even though now he's like 15 kg and he's heavier, and it's like, well, I'm worse than army backpack, but I still do it, right? Another trade-off, another example is when Eden goes to doing his big business, he wants to do it as potty. He wants some people to hold his hand while he can't actually do that. And back then there was a real example. It was a live deal. I was in the middle of something to like clinch the client. I just need to reply that WhatsApp, and then he's like, I need a boo, like, can you hold my hand, etc. Right? And I was so like pissed off at myself. I just threw the phone like away and hold his hand. But I was like trying to have my inner peace like, oh my gosh, like there's this, or is this a trade-off? Like why, right? And then like this morning, out of nowhere, he's like, Papa, I need a poo. Can you hold my hand? I was like, oh, what if this moment is gone forever, right? There will be this golden opportunity. It's like, close the door, I'm pooping, I don't want to see you anymore, right? And you really can't buy back this time. So when you were saying like the 80-year-old going back, I had goosebumps because I remember seeing it as well. And suddenly all of the small moments become the main moments that the person wants to relieve and fully embrace as well, right? So we always cherish things. We always don't cherish things until it's truly gone. So
and I think we really need to reject the trap of like, sometimes there's this temptation to like, I'm just going to appear for the big moments, the key moments. And I find that actually, if you kind of think back to like your own parents, right? A lot of times sometimes, maybe you do think of those big moments, but a lot of times actually like you kind of feel like, oh, I'm maybe closer to one parent just because that parent was just like always there when I needed them, like because of those like everyday things, not really because of those like big moments, you know. So I think of course there's a balance. We've got a business. You got to run a business. You got to feed the family. So it's always about trade-offs.
Definitely. So on that note, right, one final question that I have for you is, and probably to the audience, right, is, what is your one biggest advice for parents who are thinking of starting a business or have started a business that is on a very early stage right now?
Biggest advice? This is going to sound like financial advice, but I think
the budget's just over.
But I think it's quite similar, right? You got to think about, firstly, you got to think about why you are starting this. Because I think that purpose is very important, and it's what's going to bring you through the hard moments, and parenting itself is already a hard thing to do. So you add on the business, that's like two really, really hard things. Yeah, so I think that purpose will really sustain you. But also you got to recognize like firstly like the risks.
Yeah.
So what risk are you taking? How that risk is going to impact your family?
Yep.
The kind of commitment you're going to put in. And I think the thing that really matters that a lot of people don't think about is the time horizon.
Time
Which is
horizon.
yeah,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
actually a finance term, right?
Finance term. Yeah.
Yeah, time horizon. Because actually a lot of people have a very limited time horizon when they're first starting the business. All they're thinking about is survival, right?
Yep.
But actually, if you think about it, right, you're in for the long game. So actually, your time horizon is very long. So if you put that into perspective, actually, like failure or like times when growth is slow or like customer growth is slow, right? It's when you put it in that perspective, it's not like a super big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you put it in that perspective, you're in for the long game. Actually, you got a lot of time to catch up.
Yep.
So maybe you might have a bit more time with your family than you think.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like growing wealth like that, like personal finance. Actually, if your time horizon is very long, you can actually take a bit more risk, or you can not be super worried if your investment drops a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you got a super long time horizon, right?
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be a bit of that perspective than entrepreneurship.
Well, this is like Gary Vee style. You're still young, right? Okay, very cool. And we actually do have a live audience at the back, right? Would love to actually get like one question from the crowd. Oh yeah, go Imran.
Yeah, I like the example of time horizon. I want to flip that and ask you for that time horizon. That also means not taking another holiday.
Yep.
Not eating out, not celebrating birthday as big as you can, missing out on certain events. How would you feel about that if you stretch your time horizon instead of splitting?
Ooh, so maybe to reframe that question again. How do you actually frame that time horizon? Because everything is a trade-off, and there's a lot of trade-off that you take. Like for example, not spending time with your kid, spending enough for the kid or on the kid at the early stage because of the time horizon. And then the second one that you mentioned is
Just if you take it slow and steady. Like
take it slow and steady, right? Yeah, that's the trade-off. Yes, correct. Yeah. Dom, maybe to you.
So I think it also boils down to having that conversation. If everyone's parapreneur here, so you pretty much most people have a partner. You have kids, and there are people that you are commitments to. So I think it's important to sit down and have that conversation with your partner. Like mutually agree. Like this is what it's going to be like for like maybe the next few years, the next 10 years, or the next 20 years. Is this something we can both agree on? Is this something that we can both do? And then getting that commitment. I'm sure a few other entrepreneurs who come up before me mentioned like, oh yeah, like I have the luxury of like my partner being very supportive, or I have the luxury like my income being like not really the deciding factor in terms of like the total income that our family brings in. But in some cases, your income might be really important as an entrepreneur because you're the main like breadwinner in the family. So it all depends on your situation and what like both partners can accept like within that relationship. So I think having that conversation and also like the kind of standard of living,
love it,
and quality of living that you expect that your family has and your kids have access to. So it's a very important conversation that you need to have with your partner.
No, 1000%. And to add on as well, it's going to be a trade-off, right? If you're going to sprint towards that financial freedom, like one of my M&A clients, mergers and acquisition client, then that trade-off is like, oh shucks, I have a couple of million, but I would rather spend $1 million to buy back time. But time is no more, right? So I think we are not kind of actually like a support group just to actually come around. At ParentPreneur, very shack, I know both sides, parent not doing well, entrepreneurship not doing well, how, right? But we just want to spread the education and awareness, and you start actually thinking like, okay, what is really worth my time? What's the high leverage point that we can actually push through so that we can actually balance, if not integrate both? So yeah. Alrighto. So I think, thank you so much for joining us, Dom.
Thanks, Aldred.
The community is something we can actually learn and evolve to. Like, how do you feel in a one sentence? How do you feel this community can actually grow and evolve just based on like joining us for one session?
Well, I think the energy today, the energy today was like really great. I met like many different like entrepreneurs, people with kids, and like it's really nice, like we're here having this discussion, right? But it's like really nice when you like bring up like some of these challenges and they just get it.
Yeah.
They just get it because we're all in the same boat. We're all
Yeah.
facing the same challenges. Yeah, no doubt we might take different decisions and
For
all,
sure.
which is all part of this conversation, right? You get educated, you know, and then you make that decision for yourself like consciously.
Yep.
But you know, just that by virtue of like talking to somebody else who's a bit like you, has your same challenges, who also has kids, who just get it, you know. I think that form of like support and that nice feeling that you have, you know, I can really see this like going far. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so thank you so much for your time. This will probably be our last session for today. Very interesting setup that we have, a live kind of actually podcast with live audience and actually going like a roulette kind of style instead of like one person speaking for like 2 hours and then you have to listen on. It's like, I'd rather work on my business. Parentpreneur, not enough time. So we're definitely going to do more of this kind of session and see how it can actually transpire. All right, cheers. Bye.